The next parsha, I'll just say one thing about the parsha that we
But how,
will be laying
I just
next
want to
week.
say one thing about. I just want to say one thing about people come from King David and they become rabbis. If they're rabbis, do we look at their schooling? I'm saying that the Gadol Yeshiva, fine, is very Haredi. It doesn't mean people that learn there are very Haredi.
I hear what you say. Yeah, no, you're right.
If I went to King David and I'm a rabbi, does that mean King David teaches rabbi?
No, you're right. 100% right. Yeah, but they have a certain outlook on life that's it's more open, if I put it that way. Within the realms of the yeshiva, they're a bit more open-minded, if you can use that word.
It's like a very deep, subtle cultural thing.
It's not all black and white.
Exactly. There are many.
I went for a winter program.
Right. It's very good. It's the only yeshiva in South Africa.
No, there's more than that.
Which one?
They got a yeshiva going in Cape Town now.
Who has?
Rabbi Ozhak. He's a new rabbi at Osimach there.
From 4 in the morning.
They have a kollel.
It's a learning program or it's a real yeshiva?
They got guys from Joburg.
But I don't mean a kollel, I mean like Bochrim learning.
So they got Bochrim learning there. I know 2 of them, I don't know if there's more yet or not. But they started off with 2 and they were learning there full day, and they also had a kollel going from 5 in the morning until Shabbos about 8 o'clock, and then
very good. No, I'm happy to hear that.
And in Joburg they got 2 yeshivas going, Rabbi Wolpe, I don't know if you know Rabbi Wolpe. So I was there for 2 months, and then Rabbi Shlomo Goldberg.
I know him too.
Yeah, so I was there for just over a year at Rabbi Goldberg's.
Very good. Excellent. So we'll do something about the Parsha Shlach Lecho, when Hashem tells Moshe Rabbeinu to send a mission of people, and Rashi brings them the Midrash, and the Gemara in Sotah also talks about it. Shlach Lecho leDa'atcho. That means I'm not telling you to send, I'm not commanding you, I'm telling you if you'd like to, you can send. Because it was kind of a request of the Bnei Israel to first send a pilot trip kind of thing before they enter the land of Israel. And then Moshe thought it's a good idea, and then Hashem says, okay, send. So, in a sense we see that the Chet HaMeraglim, the sin of the spies, originates from this request of Nishlechu Anoshim, let's send people to do some kind of pilot trip. That means there was on such a high level that these people accepted the Torah, they received the Torah at Mount Sinai. And if they come and say to Hashem sends them to Eretz Yisrael, and they say let's send a trip to see, to check it out, that in itself is a bit of a yerida in their madrega. It's a bit of a drop in their level, in the high level. And Hashem gave them, in a sense, a kind of stumbling block, a nisayon, a challenge that they could already fall from. We see on the other hand in the Haftarah of next week's Parsha, of Shlach Lecho, we see a kind of negative to this story, or positive. Rachav Azonad, who hosted the 2 Meraglim of Joshua, that put herself in danger in order to host 2 spies. Because if those 2 spies wouldn't believe her, she would be killed. And we see from the Psukim that she didn't hand over the spies because she believed that Am Yisrael would win. She said she had a strong emunah in Hashem just from hearing about Kriyas Yamsuf, and from that power itself she believed in the victory of Am Yisrael. So we have here in a sense two sides of one coin. On the one hand we had what the Mefarshim say, they were G'dolei Yisrael, the Meraglim were G'dolei Yisrael. They were the leaders of the Jewish people. They were on a very high madrega, but they didn't withstand the test of their emunah. And they said, let's test and see if this whole journey to the land of Israel makes sense. Let's send people in front of us and see, kind of make a pilot trip, because the emunah wasn't 100% strong. On the other hand, Rochov, who hosted the Meraglim, her emunah was strong. So that's a very interesting some kind of comparison between the Meraglim and Rochov Azoyim, who was a simple Goya, a simple non-Jew, but she came to the Madrega because she wanted to believe, and believed in with a strong emunah in the victory of Am Yisrael. She came to very high levels. We see here that Abolitai Messiah Loi and Abolitai Poischin Loi, which means in the Gemara Brachos, if someone comes with a sincere heart, with a strong request to come to a higher level in Avodas Hashem, Hashem helps him. On the other hand, if someone is looking to go down from his high level, Hashem opens the doors. It doesn't help him, but opens the doors, because we live in a world of free will, and the person is given a choice at every stage in life to choose at that very moment what direction to take. And Rabbi Yitzchok Blazer, the big disciple of Rabbi Sol Salanta, the chief rabbi of St. Petersburg, Leningrad, he gives a very wonderful mashal, a parable to this. There was a very wealthy businessman, a property mogul that did very, very well, and suddenly it didn't go so well. His business started to wobble. But he's still a rich person, obviously. As we know now in Israel these days, there's a whole thing going on. Rich people, very, very, very extremely multi-billionaires. Sometimes it doesn't go well, but they're still very rich. It doesn't look too nice. That's the situation usually. And sometimes there's a very, very poor person that doesn't have any money and can be very successful. And obviously, if a person is looking for a good partner, he'll usually choose the successful poor man rather than taking partnership with the rich, unsuccessful person. In the natural world, there are two powers. There's a power of growth and a power of decay, or you want to say flowers that stop growing. What happens to flowers that stop growing? They die out. Slowly, very, very slow. So sometimes a little kernel planted in the earth, with time, takes time, but then it grows roots, and then grows and becomes a very, very wide and large and powerful tree, a fruitful tree. But when everything is come to its full blossom and fruitfulness, then comes the stage of dying out. When we compare a massive big tree on its stages of dying out, compare it to a little kernel that's starting to take root, obviously, where would I put my money?
On the kernel.
On the kernel. Although, in actual fact, this massive tree is more important, more prominent, and takes more place and looks better. But the worth of the kernel is much higher because it's on the track of growth.
Bull market.
It's the track we look at, not at the actual result. And in the spiritual world, it's the same thing. There are these two powers. When you take a great person growing in Torah and Shemayim. He might be young, not yet in his full blossom, but a child, sometimes even starting to show signs of growth. Obviously, if you compare him to a person who's already Talmid Chacham, but that child is on a higher level. That child is growing, is on the right track, as they say. But sometimes, if it doesn't go well with a grown-up person, so it's on the lost track. The Meraglim were great people, but because they were on the wrong track, that power already began taking place. And on the other hand, even Rachav in the Haftorah of this Parsha was on the beginning of a growing signs, and therefore she was on a higher level in that sense. Rabbi Yisrael Salanter used the Pasuk in Hosea, Ki na'ar Yisrael v'ohaveu. Am Yisrael is a bit compared to a young person, a child, a youth, and therefore Hashem loves him. So Am Yisrael is one of the signs, one of the names of expressions of love to Am Yisrael from Hashem is Nar. Am Yisrael is like a youth. He's youth, he's young, because he's beginning to learn. He's on the right track and he'll grow one day. And we see the importance of a person to be careful and make sure he's always on the growing track and not the other one. That's one very nice lesson in our Parsha of the great Musa men, Sol Salanter, Yitzchak Blazer, and so on. And we'll continue with a vote on the Parsha of the great-grandchild of Rabbi Sol Salanter, Rabbi Dessler. You've all heard the name Rabbi Dessler, Michtav Meliyahu, Strive for Truth in English, you've seen the book? Rabbi Dessler says like this: one of the complaints against the Meraglim was that they were bribed, or they had negias, what it's called negias. Negias means they have their own motives that guided them in their...
Ulterior motives.
Yeah. Ulterior motives? Their own motives, yeah.
Not the kosher ones.
Not the kosher ones. They were not so... They were subjective a bit. Ulterior motives they had. Yeah, sort of. They had ulterior motives. And Rav Dessler asked, how do you expect them to see only the truth and be so objective? In everything we look at, we usually feel there's our own motives too. Everything in life. It's very difficult to be totally pure in our outlook in life. And he says that sometimes that even after the Yetzer Hara seduces a person and he makes a mistake to think that the way of falsehood is the true way, but he knows, deep inside he knows the truth. And every person can also, if he wants to, can also come to the root of truth also. Because he compares it to Golus. The Golus of the person, the exile. The person is exiled or kind of is captured in his own world. The acknowledgement of truth is always also apparent within the web of lies that we live in. The person has to always find and look in himself very clearly to look for the truth and separate from the truth from the imagination, because our world, our inner world of lies is usually nurtured by a very strong imagination. The Yetzer Hara is it's an imagination. That's what the Yetzer Hara is. Dimyon. The power of imagination overtakes the truth. So Rav Dessler writes like this with regard to the Meraglim. The Medrash says, Amru Yisrael Moshe Rabbeinu, Nishlach Anoshim Lefoneinu. Am Yisrael came to Moshe and said, let's send a group of people to make some kind of pilot trip. So Moshe Rabbeinu said, why? Hashem promised us a land of good agronomy and good rain and good, everything's good there. What's the problem? Okay, so they said, but maybe the nations of Canaan somehow heard that we, the Jewish people, the Hebrews, are on their way, and they'll hide away all the gold and silver, they'll hide away all the good things, and then we'll come, they won't find anything, and then HaKadosh Baruch Hu's promise will be a bit shaken. So maybe we should send some spies to see what's the story without them knowing of us coming. What's the situation, the financial situation there? So you could see here that the people talking in this way, they were thinking of the money. They were blinded. But they coupled it, they put it in a complaint as if we're trying to save Hashem's promise. They didn't say, listen, we want money, we scared the residents they will hide it, and that's why we want to send spies. No, they said, that's true, that's the reason, they're hiding their money, but then Hashem's promise won't become Nimtzot Vorish LaKadosh Baruch Hu Batel. It means, it's in a sense, Hashem's word will be questioned. And that's the reason we want to go to the land of Canaan, to make sure Hashem's promise isn't in any way questioned. So they coupled it, they put it in what I would call a very frum complaint. They didn't say, Chas v'shalom, we're looking for money. No, we're saving Hashem's covenant. We're doing it only because we want Hashem's covenant to stay. Kiddush Hashem. We're not doing it Chas v'shalom for our own ulterior motives, for money or anything like that. And even Moshe Rabbeinu, it says the Medrash, Kim Tsheshoma, Nilkad Melmach, Moshe Rabbeinu even fell for this complaint. Obviously Moshe Rabbeinu was a Novi. He could see the inner powers of every person's psyche, even the most subtle ones. And Moshe Rabbeinu Chazal say could even look at the person's face and analyze his inner self. The Zohar writes that also. In spite of all this, even Moshe Rabbeinu, the Medrash says, was clouded by all these complaints of these important people of Am Yisrael. How could that happen? We have to say that the mistake was so subtle that even they couldn't feel it. And HaKadosh Baruch Hu claimed the sin of the spies from Am Yisrael, not from Moshe Rabbeinu. The Vilna Gaon writes that when Am Yisrael came to Moshe, each person, individual, would get his own true, correct way in Avodas Hashem, individually tailored for that person. So we see that with great chokhmah, with Nevuah, but maybe it could be, Rav Dessler explains, in this case, because of what we explained before, Hashem Yisbarach didn't give Moshe the power of Nevuah to really reveal those inner ulterior motives of the Meraglim. That's the Pshat Shlach Lecho L'Daitcho. Hashem says to Moshe, you know what? They want to send spies? L'Daitcho, I'm not mixing in, I'm not interfering. Do it on your own accord. So now the question is, if Moshe Rabbeinu himself couldn't reveal these ulterior motives, why was Am Yisrael punished? Am Yisrael shouldn't have been punished. P'chiyot Adoros, Chazal say that all the tzoros of Am Yisrael began with the story of the Meraglim. So that's it. He doesn't explain. Rav Dessler just leaves it at that. That we see how ulterior motives are so powerful. This is, I would say, the Shitta of Kelem. As we explained once, the Musa movement of Rabbi Sol Salanta, there were various methods of the work of the Musa. That means how a person can improve his behavior, how a person can improve his entire ethical and moral being by certain methods that the Talmidim Reb Sol Salanta developed. And we know how Novardok developed a method of learning Ma'amorei Chazal in a certain way, in a very, I would say, melancholic tune, and repeating it again and again and again and again until it has a very strong effect, and using even chabrusas in Musa. That's what they used to do. And Slabodka, that's a different method. They worked more on the greatness of a human being, how great a human being is, and how a person who's so great should be more careful and more act in a royal way. And the Kelem worked a lot, and this we see from Rav Dessler's writings, who grew up in Kelem, spoke a lot about this, about how a person should try not to be bribed by the Yetzer Hara, how there's very subtle things. These subtleties also, a person can work on himself. And the other Muslim people, Chazkel Lemsey talks about it a lot also. Rav Moshe Feinstein takes a bit of a more simple outlook on this and asks a very simple question. Why does HaKadosh Baruch Hu agree? If Hashem knew that the outcome will be bad, without going into the whole question of free choice, free will, and the knowledge, the predestined knowledge of Hashem, Rav Moshe Feinstein puts down a simple question. And Rav Moshe Feinstein asks a simple question. Everyone asks. We spoke about it before. How such respectable Gdolei Yisrael could make such a mistake and speak Lashon Hara on Eretz Yisrael? And he says that the emunah of the Meraglim, the faith in Hashem of the Meraglim and of Am Yisrael, wasn't a result of very difficult work. They had it very easy. What made them believe in Hashem? They saw open miracles. If you see an open miracle, you become from within a spot. You see how Hashem runs the world in 1 minute. Yeah? You don't need a course of, discover Hashem and start a few months of learning Jewish philosophy and maybe then become full. 1 minute. Hashem proves to you. The sea split. All the people there believed in Hashem, even non-Jews, Yisro and others. So when a person comes to the emunah in such a quick way, in such a instant, we call it instant emunah, it's a different story. He says, Rav Moshe Feinstein, there's a certain chisoron, there might be a disadvantage in that kind of emunah, because you get used to the fact that you see Hashem, you see it with your own eyes. So although they saw the big nisim Hashem did in Mitzrayim, but they didn't believe that maybe the same nisim Hashem did in Mitzrayim will do always. To 31 kings. Okay, 1 king, Paro, Hashem straight away took care of it. But 31 empires to eradicate, to annihilate, to fight against in 1 minute. We didn't see that yet. Let's send spies and see. That's also the explanation to the chet we read in the last week's Parsha, Ba'aloischo, yesterday, of the Mis'avim, Mis'avu Tavo. They had a strong desire for what? For food. They're eating man. Every day they can taste ice cream of every taste they want in the man. Every kind of meat they can taste in the man. Every day. But they didn't believe Hashem can send an amount that will, a supply for 3 million people. That's it won't go for 3 million people for a whole month. No. So that's also a chet. So he says like this. We can understand with this why Hashem let Moshe Rabbeinu send Meraglim. And Moshe allowed the Jewish people to send Meraglim. Because he thought, let's prove that Hashem can do anything. Adarabah, I want to show you how powerful those people in the land of Israel, and then you'll see how Hashem can conquer them in 1 minute. And just like Paro was no obstacle to get you out of Egypt, if Hashem wants it, the same thing. And obviously after the Meraglim saw it, they saw Hashem's right. But it didn't help the tshuva. Why? Because Hashem wanted this emunah to come in a hard way. And that's what happened. It came very difficult. It took him 40 years to cling to Hashem the hard way. That's what Moshe Feinstein's pshat. The next question is, the Meraglim got a very, very powerful punishment. They weren't allowed into Eretz Yisrael. They all died in the desert. So this is asked, it's a good question, asked by Rabbi Yaakov Naiman in his Sefer Darkei Musar. Why did they deserve such a terrible punishment of death? Just because they had some questions on their emunah. What's the problem? So he says like this, in emunah there are many levels. The lowest basic level, the basic level of emunah, the number one is to believe Hashem created the world. I would say billions of people in the world believe that Hashem, they can call it in different ways, they can call it different names, different expressions, but Hashem created the world. You don't have to be very clever for that. Anyone who isn't stupid notices that there's a God that created the world. Yeah? Even a needle, you look at a needle, the needle has a hole on one side of it and it's pointed the other side. Could that happen by chance? No, just a needle. So obviously it's stupid to think that the most complex things in the world were created by chance, by accident. A higher level in emunah is to believe that everything a person does is also in the hands of Hashem. And not to say, Koichi bo'itzim yodi osel isachayil hazeh. My power and my might created this whole thing. That's why it says, Onoichi Hashem Elokecha, I am Hashem your God. Asher tzisicho me'eretz Mitzrayim. I took you out of Egypt. It doesn't say I created the world. Why isn't the first of the 10 commandments, I am Hashem that created the world? Which makes more sense. That should be the first of the 10 commandments. I am Hashem who created the world. What do you mean I am Hashem who took you out of Egypt? Doesn't make sense. If Hashem created the whole world, so obviously he took you out of Egypt. It's one item, one incident, one event. But surely it's much more powerful to say I created the world. But the answer is that I created heaven and earth. Obviously, that's an obvious thing. You don't need a mitzvah in the Torah for that. It's obvious. But took you out of Egypt, for that there is maybe place to say, make all sorts of theories. Like if you read Bible stories that children read in the non-secular schools, that Moses was a big leader, he took the Jews out of Egypt. That's false, it's not true. Hashem took us out of Egypt. Moshe was the Eved Hashem who took care of it in a certain way. Therefore the Torah says, Onoich Hashem Elokecha, Asher Yitzisicha, I am Hashem who took you out of Egypt. No theories, no nothing. Moshe didn't do anything. Hashem did everything. Chvoidu v'atzma, as you say in the Haggadah Shel Pesach. Le'el nishliach, le'el nimaloch. Hashem levad. There's a higher level, beyond the emunah in Yetzias Mitzrayim, and that's to see things that we don't understand and not ask questions. To see the Holocaust and say everything's from Hashem, what can we do? We don't know, we don't understand. To see things in this world, the righteous suffer, the wicked don't suffer, all sorts of questions. Unfair, it's unfair, many things are unfair. Even on that to say, Vayamei No'om, and the nation believed. As it says, when the Moshe came with the Psura Sagula from Egypt, Vayamei No'om. So that's a higher level. That's why it says, all the holy scriptures, Kodesh. The whole Tanakh is holy. And Shir Hashirim, the Holy of Holies. If you read Shir Hashirim, what's it look like? A nice romantic song that we compare Hashem and Am Yisrael to. That's what it looks like. If you don't see it beneath the surface. All the other songs, Shiras Hayam, Shiras David, Shiras Dvoiro, all those other poetical songs that Am Yisrael sang for Hashem, like the song that we say every day, Oz Yashir Moshe, the splitting of the sea, the song that David HaMelech sang for Hashem when he was saved, and Dvoiro Anavio, do not need special elevation in Emunah. But Shir Hashirim is a song of total love and dependency of Hashem. That we love Hashem in all conditions, even in times of terrible trials and tribulations we go through. Our love to Hashem, our connection to Hashem is unquestioned. When people in the Holocaust sang Ani Mamin on the way to the gas chambers, or Ashreinu Matov Chalkeinu, or when they were going to the Inquisition and being burnt at stake, and they sang songs of Emunah, that Emunah, that song is Kodesh Kodoshim. It's the highest level of Emunah in Hashem, with no research, no philosophy, no explanation, no intellectualizing, no understanding. That level we find by Avraham Avinu when Hashem told him to Ha'aleu Lo'oilo, put Isaac on the altar and slaughter him as an offering. And he didn't ask Hashem, just a minute, yesterday you told me that I'm going to have a very big nation coming out of Yitzchak. But he had Emunah Tmima in Hashem, and he went to fulfill Hashem's wish. In light of this, we can say the Chet HaMeraglim wasn't that they didn't have Emunah in Hashem. It was, if Hashem says Tov Haaretz, it's a good place. You can't come and say, we saw their people burying their dead, we saw all sorts of problems there. Your Emunah in Hashem has to be unquestioned, even in times of sorrow, even in times of open contradiction. And when Bnei Yisrael went out of Egypt, the Emunah, the simple Emunah in Hashem, it was enough to get them out of Egypt. But it wasn't enough to get them into Eretz Yisrael. Because to get into Eretz Yisrael, you need that level of Emunah, of simple Emunah. That even if you see that it doesn't make sense, I believe in what Hashem told me. And therefore they did not merit to go into Eretz Yisrael, because they didn't have that level. To believe in Emunah Tmima, simple Emunah in Hashem. Yeah. Yes.
Can I ask a question?
With pleasure.
Why did these people that went to Meraglim were leaders of the tribes? They were, from the street.
Yeah.
You picked out the best people. So why should they bring a false impression of the land?
Yeah.
Why did they lie?
That's
and why did they say? And if they come back and brought a false impression of the land, they were punished. But why were all the other people punished? They did the sin, and the people have to wander around in justice for 40 years. Why is that?
That's what I explained now. That they didn't reach the level of Emunah Tmimo, simple Emunah. They had Emunah in Hashem. Hashem created the world, Hashem took us out of Egypt, but they didn't take it to another level.
Why should they lie and say there's giants there and the cities are fortified up to heaven? Why should they say such a false report?
They didn't lie. They gave a partial report, as we know. It wasn't an open lie, obviously. It was, as we said before, they were maybe influenced by the ulterior motives and didn't have this simple emunah in Hashem. What Hashem says, that's how it is.
And their ulterior motives was to stay in the desert
blinded them.
and have everything given to them.
Yeah, exactly. That's. There's another interesting Rashi that asks, why was Parshas Shlach Lecho written in the Torah right after Parshas Ba'aloischo that we read yesterday? That's because the end of yesterday's Parsha was Miriam. And these people didn't learn from the punishment of Miriam that spoke against her brother. And it wasn't so against, it was also in his face. It wasn't Mamish Lashon Hara, but they didn't learn. There's a story of Reb Chaim Shmulevitz brings it in the Musar Discourses. Once a woman was given a suggestion to marry a big Talmid Chacham, and one day that Talmid Chacham became one of the greatest Torah giants. But she was against the shidduch because the Chosson was limping. And the mother of the girl herself didn't know, didn't talk about it, but the mother of the girl didn't want the daughter to marry a limping or someone with a problem, an invalid. A few weeks later, after she opposed this shidduch, this suggestion, she gave us, in the middle of giving her husband a cup of coffee, early in the morning, she slipped, the coffee fell, and she slipped on the coffee and broke her legs. And she started thinking, why was I punished like this? And she thought, maybe I was punished because I gave coffee to my husband before davening. She didn't see the story of a few weeks earlier. She saw the immediate thing. Why is it? So Reb Chaim Shmulevitz asked the question. Why didn't this woman say, just a minute, I broke my legs, why? Because I opposed the shidduch of my daughter to a big Talmid Chacham and saw this blemish of broken leg as the terrible mistake or terrible blemish that she shouldn't marry her. So we see that the person doesn't see his own fallacies and comes to wrong conclusions sometimes, not wanting to blame themselves. The purpose of punishing in this world usually is to teach a person a lesson, to give a person a time to think and contemplate and find things he should correct in his behavior. Midah keneged midah. In actual fact, we see this is a difficult thing to learn, because naturally a person always tends to explain everything in different ways, but not in pointing at his own mistakes. From the story of the Meraglim we learn not only from how they should have learned from their mistakes in the ways of punishment, they should have learned also from how Miriam was punished with Tzaraat on her own mistake. The truth is, it's easier to learn of other people's mistakes and punishments than a person on himself, because someone else was punished, it has nothing to do with me. But when a person himself has to see his own mistakes, then it's more difficult. That's a Chaim Shmulevitz. And thank you very much. Any questions?
I have another question.
Yes.
The Kodesh Baruch Hu said to Moses, send them.
Yeah.
And if the Kodesh Baruch Hu knows ever sent, he knew if he sent them, he knew what was going to happen.
But that's why it says Shlach Lecha. What's Lecha? Hashem didn't say Shlach Anashim. Lecha leDa'atcha. What's it mean leDa'atcha? Don't mix me in, I'm not helping, I'm not disturbing you.
Well,
From here we learn
that
when a person wants to go in a bad way, Hashem doesn't disturb. He doesn't help me, he doesn't disturb. When a person wants to go in a good way, Hashem helps him. But when a person wants to go in a bad way, Hashem doesn't help him, doesn't disturb him. That's why Hashem said, I'm sure I want to send spies. It's your business with them, I'm not mixing in. That's why, yes.
I thought that from Moshe Rabbeinu's perspective, that we could liken his response to the spies that similar to a person who's selling a car that's really, really great. And he knows the guy, he's afraid to buy, but it's the best car for him. So he says, why don't you take it for a test drive, and then for sure you'll buy it.
Yeah.
So isn't that a reason that you let him go? Because he said, for sure they're going to love the land now and see it. And also...
That's precisely what I said now, that the emunah pshuta, the simple emunah, the belief, if Hashem says it, it's that.
Also,
not the question.
The spies, I read a parish once, I believe that the spies feared that their Avodas Hashem would suffer and that they would become further from Hashem, which is kind of true, right? Because now they have to work for a living, so they have more challenges. They didn't want that because they had big scrambles on, right?
But that's precisely the point. A person should strive to worship Hashem, not the easy way.
And then the last question is a concept that I think is not easy to understand or explain. Is we see it appear often great people like David Melech or the spies, Moshe Rabbeinu, they sin, so to speak, and we sin. So what's the difference? They're men and we're men. So we hear how great they are, but how do we conceptualize that?
We conceptualize by the fact that, as we learn in Chazal also, Sha'arei Tshuva, that's why the Torah never ever censors all the mistakes of our great people. Because we learn from them that we should also, just like they did Tshuva, we can also do Tshuva. In other words, a nicer way would be, like many biographies come out today of Rabbonim, no mistakes, nothing, never. They all were born pure, grew up pure, were nifta pure, and they came from great lineage, and at the age of 2 they already knew the whole Torah by heart, and they just sat and learned all day from the age of 1, I don't know what. But they davened with Kavanah and they already learned with Malachim from the age of 5. All this is, I'm not saying it's not true, yes true, I'm just saying it's wrong. We see from the Torah isn't that way. As someone said to me once, if the Torah would be published today as a book, they would burn it. How can you write such things? Some people would say, how can you write? Moshe Rabbeinu made a mistake. How can you say that? It's true that we have no, which is true, that we have no mussar, we have no idea at all of their greatness. But we see also they were punished on such mistakes that by us are considered mitzvahs. They were, as HaKadosh Baruch Hu medaki considered chut asayro. But still, we are given these lessons to understand that there were human beings, we are human beings, and we can get up from these mistakes. We can do tshuva. On the contrary.
Are you saying that you would be an advocate for book authors to
write the truth,
writing
write the truth,
mistakes as well?
Yes. Not. It doesn't mean that we have to show our children's books that this and this Rav, whatever, made mistakes and therefore don't listen to him. You write it in a way, he made a mistake, he did tshuva, and we should learn that he did tshuva, we should learn from him.
Because of his mistake, he was great.
Exactly. It's mamish apparent today in many moments. Yes.
You speak of the right track and the wrong track. The Meraglim would say you're on the wrong track. Meraglim believed they were on the right track.
Yeah.
The mind, the brain, the Yetzer Hara convinced them that they were on the right track.
Definitely.
So, how does any human being, you, I, or anyone here,
know
that you're on the right track? The mind tells you, the Yetzer Hara tells you, do this. It's for your own good. You could be on the wrong track. How do you know? How do you know?
That's precisely what Rav Salanta said. If you don't learn Musa, the Musa, that means, I'm not going into the details of the Musa movement, but learning Musa, if you learn Mesilas Yesharim, he goes into these things, he goes into the heart, he goes into the motives of every action you do, and tries to crystallize it. it's work. That's the Vilna Gaon said, to change one middle, one bad character trait is a lifetime. It's much more difficult than anything else, because to change yourself and not be meshuchad, not be blinded by yourself is very difficult. You can't. You can't.
How do you know?
One teacher told me once, one Rebbe, he said, you know, when you're driving a bicycle, how do you know if you're on the right track or not? You don't know. But if you know that your way home is going uphill, and it's very easy, you know you're not going home, you're going somewhere else, it's going downhill. But if it's difficult, then you know you're going on the right, you're going home, you're going up. If it's he said also in Yiddishkeit, sometimes it's difficult, it's hard for you. Sometimes, if it's hard for you, maybe you're doing the right thing. If it's too easy, if it's nice, and it's pleasant, the Torah should be pleasant, mitzvah should be pleasant. But it's not always easy. When you're fighting the Yetzer Hara and it's very easy, you say, listen, it's too easy. It's probably too nice.
The Yetzer Hara will convince you of anything.
That's true. It's a problem.
Absolutely anything that what you are saying and what you're convinced.
That's true. That's the milchama of life. It's the entire life. That's why you have to learn Musa, I say. I don't have another answer other than that. The learning Musa.
You could rob, steal, the Yetzer will tell you that's for the good.
And even the Chazon Ish says that he found people learning Musa, and while learning Musa they were also making a mistake, because sometimes the halacha is on your side. The halacha is on your side. And you're learning Musa, he's saying, that person did something wrong, really he did the right thing of halacha, but he's saying, just a minute, it doesn't sound moral, it doesn't sound, for example, he gives an example.
It's moral to one.
The Chazon Ish gives an example.
Moral to another person.
No, the Chazon Ish gives a good example. You're melamed in a shtetl, and you have a wife and kids to support, and you're making a parnasa from teaching in the shtetl, the kids, you're teaching Chumash, and there's only 5 families. There isn't place for 2 melamdim. You're the Rebbe of the Sunday Cheder in a small town in Hicksville, and then comes another younger man, he needs a parnasa. He puts adverts out, I'm the melamed. I'm a very good melamed, I'm the best melamed in America. Who's right? According to Musa, that person's a mushchas, he's a corrupt person. There's a poor guy teaching Torah here, 5 people, and you're coming to take away his parnasa. Says the Chazon Ish, but the Gemara passes al pi halacha, kinas soifrim tar b'chochma. There's no halacha of competition in teaching. Anyone can come and teach, and the best will win. Capitalism, American liberal capitalism, that's what works in Jewish education. We're against communism, capitalism. That's the halacha. So if you learn Musa, you can say, listen, it's wrong, but it's right. So even when you're learning Musa, you have to make sure that it's al pi halacha. So it's not easy. I'm telling you, your question's very valid, very good. And every person has to work on himself, not learn Musa and think of someone else. Work on himself. But that's the avoid of a person in this world. To try and find his way and make sure he's doing the right thing at every level, every step in life. That's why you need a teacher. But even the teacher can make a mistake. So you have to make sure that you're all the time synchronized.
And there's no measure for measure. Success
Exactly.
or failure, reward or punishment.
Yeah.
No matter what you do.
It's the,
Okay.
who said life is easy? Who said?
But that's not right, because truth, what is the truth? His truth's not my truth, and your truth's not my truth, and his truth's a different truth, and his truth's irrelevant to my truth, so what's the truth? The truth is what you believe yourself.
The truth is what.
If the truth is what you believe yourself, then we don't need any other
The truth is what your mind is telling you.
That's why we have halacha. We have to learn halacha and Musa.